ladies and gentlemen, who's joined us from India, and good afternoon to all who has joined from Australia. The focus of today's webinar is partnership opportunities between India and Australia. So, without any further delay, I would like to introduce Dr. Sudipto Narayan Roy. He is the chairman of ASSOCHAM Ayush National Task Force Council, as well as he is the managing director of Global Group of Companies, manufacturers and marketers of homeopathic medicines and holistic products, based in Kolkata, India. Dr. Roy is a homeopathic medical graduate from University of Calcutta. Dr. Roy presented and published articles on integrated medicine aimed engineering at the Second World Science Congress on Integrated Medicine, Bangkok in the year 2019. He has also practiced. He has also participated as a speaker to lot many international delegations to Moscow, London, New York, Dubai, Bangkok, Singapore, Los Angeles to promote bilateral trade and commerce with India on behalf of various trade promotions organizations, especially on Ayush sector. Dr. Roy is the winner of numerous national awards for his contribution towards promoting Ayush sector. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words, may I now request Dr. Sudipto Narayan Roy, Chairman ASSOCHAM National Ayush Task Force, to give his welcome speech. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar, everybody. Greetings from India. Uh, on behalf of ASSOCHAM, I welcome each and every of the learned and esteemed dignitaries in this webinar. I would like to introduce you about ASSOCHAM. ASSOCHAM is the apex body of apex Chamber of Commerce in India. We are more than 100 years old trade promotion organization. We are one of the largest, not only in India, but in Europe and Asia. Rather, in total Eurasia, we are one of the largest Chamber of Commerce. We have 450,000 active members, including all the disciplines in India. We, ASSOCHAM, is very much proactive to promote Ayush medicines. We are participating in lot many programs for globalizing Ayush medicines. Ayush in India, it stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Siddhai, Unani, and homeopathy. India is a place, is the melting pot of lot many cultures, and in India, we regard all this system of medicine as national system of medicine with government patronage. Siddha is one of the oldest system of medicine which is practiced in India, and it has its roots and origins in India only. Dr. Gayatri is there. I welcome her also. She would be more into Siddha. She would be defining what Siddha is to all of you. And then we have Ayurveda. Ayurveda, which is one of the oldest system of medicine, and it is worldwide popular thanks to the government of Australia to recognize Ayurveda. And I welcome all the Australian delegates to join hand with ASSOCHAM to promote all the Ayush system of medicines, including Unani and homeopathy also. India is regarded as the homeland for homeopathy. More than 3 lakh practitioners are practicing homeopathy, which is a European system of medicine, but is immensely popular in India. So looking into this scenario, the export potentials which India is having due to the new policy government policies which are quite favorable for uh, export and for manufacturing of Ayush medicines. So we look forward in joining hands with all of you to promote Ayush system of medicine for benefit of humankind all over the world. I welcome you all to this program, and I expect that the outcome would be a long partnership with you uh, in this regard. And I would like to welcome Dr. Vanita Sharma, who would be introduced by Manish ji just after this, after my welcome note, and I welcome her to take charge of today's program. And I welcome you, everybody, and let's hope for the best that we can serve humankind, we can serve humanity through this Ayush system of medicines, which has shown its efficacy during the pandemic situation in last few years. I welcome you all. Thank you, everybody. Let's begin. So, Manish ji,
Yes, sir.
please take it forward.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So as Dr. Roy has already shared with us that Dr. Sharma will be taking over the so I request her to take over the and what's about her. Dr. Vanita Sharma is a successful entrepreneur, traditional Ayurvedic doctor of prolific writer. Dr. Sharma needs no introduction in Australia. It wouldn't be amiss to call her the face of Ayurveda in Australia, as many follows her advice and guidance to deal with chronic illness and conditions. Dr. Sharma multi-faceted expertise to helping people live a, live a better and healthier life in today's increasingly complex healthcare scenario. An through acclaimed leader in the domain of Ayurveda, Dr. Vanita Sharma is the fifth generation Indian integrative Ayurvedic doctor, brings with her the wealth and legacy and experience through her family practice in India. Her venture, Vibe Ayurveda in Melbourne, Australia, offers a huge spectrum of service and traditional Ayurvedic treatments, which directly benefits people from across the southern hemisphere. In addition to its with Australia, India, Europe, Brazil, North America, etc., through their respective health ministry to promote Ayurveda as a healthcare ailments and preventive cares. Only this, IEA 2018
Sorry, your voice is cutting, like so we can't hear you clearly.
audible now, ma'am?
Yeah, it's audible.
Am I audible
it's
now, ma'am?
cutting out. Yes, it's clear
Right.
now. Yes, thank you.
Okay. She is the winner of IABCA 2080 Businesswoman of the Year Award, a Woman Entrepreneur and Community Services Award in Australia. She is the chairwoman of Malaysian Pacific Council of Ayush Sciences. She is also the co-chair for Yoga and Alternative Medicine Committee. She has been already there as Asia Pacific Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She is the Deputy Chairman, Complementary Health, IRS, Skills IQ, PL. She is the Secretary for Global Hindu Association for Reforms and Sustainable Societies. So, may I now request Dr. Vanita Sharma, kindly take the charge, please. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manish. And I would like to extend my warm welcome and greetings today on our special event. I would like to wish everyone a happy Republic Day and Australia Day because that's the main eve and the occasion which we chose to do this critical, important industrial meet. And I look forward for really extending like my thanks, first of all, for accepting the invite and like taking out time like to be present today. So on behalf of the organizing committee, I would welcome all our professionals to this signature event of the year 2022. And it's first of its type like in the Australian history. We as APCAS like would like to extend a warm welcome, and I would like to say few words just relative with the Ayurvedic medicine, because that's my passion and my area, and that's what I represent the industry, the skills IQ as a deputy chair for Complementary Health Industry Reference Committee, from where like we are honored to have our CEO, Honorable Yasmin King. She is gonna join like and share the industry review about all the education system in Australia relative with our complementary health. And Ayurvedic medicine has played an important role in the maintenance of human health and well-being in India and other Asian countries for many centuries. Recognizing the importance of Ayurveda in the healthcare system, the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has called for a health revolution under the aegis of the traditional medicine system. In 2017, the Modi government announced the establishment of 65 Ayush hospitals in India over the next 3 years, one for each district. Ministry of Ayush has also taken a strong initiative to establish professorial and lead academic positions to Ayush, establish professorial and academic positions in Ayush in 15 countries to promote the development, validation, and internationalization of Ayurvedic medicines and aligned therapies. Health professionals, scientists, academics, government, and the private sector are becoming increasingly interested in studying and developing traditional medicines and investigating ways that these medicines can be integrated with Western medicine to improve health outcomes, particularly in the management of chronic disease. While traditional medicines are receiving greater international attention, there remain major gaps in the scientific validation of these modalities. Traditional practices require scientific validation and translation into new environments and integration into the standard care of patients where relevant and in order to achieve full clinical potential. Australia has a great history of integration of traditional medicine knowledge into modern medicine, and Australians are among the world's highest users of complementary medicines. Australia has world-class medical and health research and a robust regulatory framework for complementary medicine products. All these strengths make Australia the ideal partner for the development of Ayurvedic medicine in Western countries. As an introduction, recently a MOU has been established between Western Sydney University and All India Institute of Ayurveda to collaborate for further research and development of Ayurveda to get recognition in Australia. I independently initiated this and took university delegates to Indian High Commission and accomplished that. We had been trying for a long time to get Ayurveda recognized, but there were a lot of challenges to be met to achieve this milestone. It is with immense pleasure that we want to inform you, His Excellency, that since last couple of years, we have been trying to work out on request by peers, various government and non-government organizations support to establish an organization and are successful, finally named as Australasian Pacific Council of Ayush Sciences, APCAS, are not-for-profit organization with an aim to propagate Ayush sciences, not only in Australia but globally, in association with ASSOCHAM and ECI and APPG in UK, who are our collaborators, and of course, not possible without the support of Ayush Health Ministry being the first one in Australia of its type. Since we are advancing towards 2022, we seek your blessings and best wishes along with all other present esteemed dignitaries to formally announce the formation and launch of our organization. For any further queries, please feel free to contact us. We look forward for your response for the same and further ongoing support from Ayush Ministry to strengthen relationship between Australia and India through the Commonwealth registration of our organization, to support Ayurveda chair, to further develop international relations and manage with Ayush Health Ministry, Indian High Commission, and Foreign Affairs and Trade to enhance business opportunities. Thank you very much and welcome everyone. Now I would like to just request Manish to have our message that's been conveyed to us by the Honourable Ministry from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Honourable Dan Tehan. I would just give a brief introduction. He doesn't need an introduction. He's the member for Wannon in Victoria and a Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment, and was sworn in on 22nd December 2020. Mr. Tehan served as a Minister for Education from 28th of August 2018. Prior to this, he was the Minister for Social Services, and preceding this, the Minister for Veteran Affairs, Minister for Defence Personnel, Minister assisting the Prime Minister for Cyber Security, and Minister assisting the Prime Minister for the centenary of Anzac. So here we are, and I am really grateful to the Honorary Minister to provide us with his greetings and best wishes on this special occasion, and we accepted his apology for not being able to make it like in today's event physically. Thank you. Manish, over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll just playing the.
Thanks. There is no voice, Manish.
Yes, ma'am. Just wait a moment. Just wait for a moment, ma'am. Just due to some technical error,
Okay, no problem.
just request you to kindly wait for.
Peter, would you like me to speak while we wait for it to get loaded?
I can do that. Do you want me to, Manish, invite Yasmin till that time? Manish?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay.
Once we are ready with it, we will again play it, ma'am.
Okay, just a second. Okay, so let me introduce Yasmin King before we get her to share her industry expertise. Yasmin is the CEO of Skills IQ, a skill service organization responsible for supporting training product development as identified by national industry reference committees. Skills IQ is responsible for IRCs, which is total represent some 90 diverse service-related and people-facing industry sectors, including complementary health. Collectively, they represent the skills needs of almost 50% of the Australian workforce. An experienced negotiator and mediator, she has led major commercial and corporate negotiations as a negotiation consultant and coach. She's adjunct to the Australian Graduate School of Management, lecturing in negotiation and conflict resolution, combined with her previous experience as the inaugural New South Wales Small Business Commissioner and the first Associate Commissioner for the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission with responsibility for small business. Yasmin has a deep understanding of the challenges that face stakeholders in the various sectors supported by Skills IQ. Yasmin is a board member of the Australian Healthcare and Hospitals Association and on the board of MicroX, an innovative publicly listed medical device company. She chairs the audit and risk committees for both of these organizations. Yasmin holds a Master's of Business Administration and an honors degree in economics. She is a fellow of the Australian Institute of Company Directors and fellow certified practicing accountant and a member of the Resolution Institute. So I would warmly invite Yasmin King to just take over the platform and share your views with us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vanita. Thank you for your kind introduction. It's a pleasure to be here today and to speak with you. As Vanita has indicated, we as an organisation support quite a large number of industry reference committees, 19 to be precise, all of whom are focused on what we call people-facing industries. Can you move to the next slide? We are a not-for-profit and we're funded by government. Sorry, can you back up? Yeah, leave it on that one. That's fine. Perfect. What our role is to basically work with industries of the various sectors that we support and listen to what they identify as the training needs and the workforce needs for their sectors. And then from that, we basically develop in accordance with a government policy framework, actual formal qualifications that are the national qualifications recognised by the Australian government. So, excuse me. So one of those reference committees, as I indicated, is the Complementary Health Committee, which actually Vanita is deputy chair of. And I think that what that shows is to what extent, sorry, if you can back up to the previous slide. Can you go back to the previous slide with all the, the previous slide with all the listing of the committees? That would be excellent if you could.
Go back, Kalu.
No, okay.
You are going further up, like go backwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back one more. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leave it. If you can see here, the areas that we cover, enrolled nursing, disability support, aged care, dental, children's education and care, ambulance and paramedic. And you can see that complementary health is a specific committee. And in that context of all the other sectors we support, I think what it shows is the recognition the Australian government has for the importance of having formalised qualifications in this sector. Now, these sectors are to the vocational education sector rather than university sector, but that actually it means that it's actually even more accessible to the wider community because the cost of undertaking these courses is not as significant as a full university degree. but these are nationally recognised qualifications, and I think that's really very important and shows the rigour, but also the fact that it's industry driven. It's not some people sitting to the side and working out what they think is needed. It is industry practitioners such as Vanita and others who actually are engaged in the sector and who are saying these are the things that we need to ensure that we have national standards that are adhered to in the way in which people are formally qualified in the sector. So the process is actually, I'm not going to say it's not complex, because it is. If we can go to the next slide, it's quite a rigorous process. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. We have an industry and skills committee, which is a national committee, which has representatives of each state and territory, and they are ultimately responsible for approving any of the qualifications that we develop. And their approval ultimately then goes to the skills ministers of every jurisdiction to sign off. The way in which those products get developed is through those industry reference committees, which I referred to before, and then underneath those industry reference committees, we actually develop specific technical advisory committees. So in the case of Ayurveda, it was a specific committee of people with expertise in Ayurveda who basically contributed to the development of those qualifications, which then were overseen by people like Vanita. And we, as the skills organisation, we essentially support this whole process. And on my staff, I have researchers, highly skilled researchers, technical writers, and people who have an understanding of the breadth of the whole of the health sector, and also the regulatory environment in which qualifications are delivered. I go to the next slide. So there is a lot of industry consultation through this process. It's the initial industry consultation that gets undertaken to identify what the skills needs and gaps are. From that, we then propose what products need to be developed, led by what industry's input is. We then develop a full draft. That then goes out again to industry for them to be reviewed. We then, on the basis of the feedback that industry gives us, we redraft them. We then go out again and validate those products, come up with a final draft, and also a case for it to be endorsed by the final committee of skills ministers. And also we provide supporting documentation such as companion volumes for training organisations to deliver against. All of these are also quality assured, and in addition, we also consult with each state and territory jurisdiction to make sure that they support whatever is developed. And that's how we arrive at what are the formal national qualifications. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So out of this process, the two specific qualifications in relation to Ayurveda that have been developed by the Complementary Health IRC, which Vanita is the deputy chair of, is the Diploma of Ayurvedic Lifestyle Consultation, and then the Advanced Diploma of Ayurveda. And as I said, these are national qualifications recognised by the Australian government, and which enables any training organisation that has them on scope, approved by the regulator, to deliver against these national standards. So I hope that gives you a bit of an insight into how rigorous the process is of the development of qualifications here, how important industry's voice is and their leadership is in the development of those qualifications, and the fact that they are recognised as formal qualifications in the Australian vocational education system. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Now, I'm happy to answer any questions if you would like.
Vanita Sharma, are you there?
Yes. Thank you so much, Yasmin. That was very insightful, and I hope I'm not sure, like if anyone has a questions out of the panelists. Do you want to ask anything? Please feel free to talk, and ask the question to Yasmin. Is the video working, Manish, like now? Manish?
The Australasian Pacific Council
Just play it from the beginning. Thank you.
to speak today.
Good morning from London. In the meantime, while you're bringing your video up, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, sure. Amarjit Bhamraji, Yasmin, he is APPG, All Party Parliamentary Group from UK. It's Amarjit Bhamra, and he wants to ask you a question. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Can you hear me, Yasmin?
I can.
Yes, Yasmin, it's really wonderful, to see you and to hear all the wonderful work that you're doing through your organization in bringing, Ayurveda up to speed. I just really wanted to ask you the two qualification levels that you've ascertained. Are they in conjunction, or they sort of have any bearing with the acknowledgement, by the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, or is this just really a qualification that you have developed, on your own in Australia?
So because we're funded by the Australian government to undertake Australian qualifications, they are for the purpose of the Australian training system, and so they are absolutely developed for local delivery. However, increasingly, what we're finding is that there is desire from other jurisdictions internationally to look at how we can adapt what we have in terms of the Australian system to enable it to be delivered internationally. Depending on the qualification, some have got very specific requirements for the context of Australia, and so you can't just amend them and say, well, okay, you can deliver it offshore. And to be frank, I'm not sure with respect to these qualifications whether they have any specific things that would restrict it from being delivered offshore as an Australian qualification. But I'm happy to take that on notice and come back to you on that if you are interested, because we, as I said, our mandate is to deliver for the Australian system and for the Australian regulatory context, but we have got examples of other qualifications that are being delivered, for example, in Southeast Asia, in various things. For example, some of our tourism qualifications are delivered offshore, given as Australian qualifications in those jurisdictions. So it just depends. Whereas others have got very specific Australian requirements, like must be delivered, for example, in an Australian childcare centre, for example, and you can't make somebody offshore build an Australian childcare centre, for example. But I'm happy to come back to you on that if you're interested.
Yes, I'm very glad. Thank you. I just really think it would be a good idea if we can sort of somehow keep in touch. The All Party Parliamentary Group on Indian Traditional Sciences is basically a parliamentary group consisting of UK cross-party parliamentarians. And the idea really behind this was to really bring about the legitimization of all Indian traditional sciences, including Ayurveda, into the UK landscape. but obviously also working, within the European Union Parliament also. But what we see is that, because we all talk about the world becoming a global village, and there's so much migration, between Europe and Australasia and all other different parts of the world. And what I've seen over the last few years, that we've had people come over from Australia and asking, is my qualification valid for me to practice Ayurveda in the UK? So I would really like you and us, and to create a bridge where we can have some sort of a dialogue, and try and format sort of a universal and international qualification. And we're obviously, trying to push, the government of India, to accept that sort of a vision, and validate, all the hard work that people like you and I are doing outside India. So I look forward to hopefully keep some connection open with you, and see if we can try and bridge this gap.
I would be very keen to do that, and to give you an example, actually, it's something we are doing specifically in the example of tourism and hospitality. We're working with all of the APAC countries, and we've developed the same concept of saying, instead of, because there is so much migration between various jurisdictions, let's have a set of occupational standards that each country has contributed to, that is the high level standard, and then enable each jurisdiction to have their specialisation of what they require to meet their own local regulatory requirements. But then it's very clear when people move between one jurisdiction and another to go, well, these are the two things I need to get to have my qualification formally recognised in both jurisdictions, and just to make it easier for people rather than what occurs now, which is a very arduous process. So I think certainly we could bring our experience in that approach to Ayurveda in across the UK and Australia as well. So be very happy to engage further with you.
Very good. Thank you, Yasmin. I look forward to that.
Thank you, Yasmin. There is a couple of questions, I believe, from one is from Asmita. She's asking, Yasmin, can you elaborate on the implementation of the courses?
So the way it works in Australia is that once the qualification has been nationally recognised, it's a public document. It's loaded on a national system, and any training organisation that applies to the regulator to have that qualification on scope can deliver that qualification. There is no barrier to them doing it if they meet the regulator's requirements. And then in terms of implementation, as long as they meet the regulator's requirements, they can deliver and issue those national qualifications. So it's quite a robust system. It has a lot of requirements in terms of the training provided, and it doesn't have to be a public organisation. It can obviously be a private organisation, but they have to meet certain business tests and tests with respect to pastoral care of students and other things that the regulator requires, and they have to make sure that they are delivering against the national standards that have been developed, and that's where there is quite a lot of rigour in terms of the audit process of the regulator to say that if you're issuing a national qualification, it has to actually meet the standards of that have been developed by the industry of what that national qualification entails. So as I said, it's quite a rigorous process.
Thank you, Yasmin. I think Asmita would have got her response. I hope that helps. And anyways, yeah, she's conveying thank you, Yasmin, and thank you so much, for throwing the insight, on whole Ayush sciences, as well as how, and we look forward for the future collaborations, even being myself part of the industry, I'm more than happy to work on that along with the Skills IQ. That would be an honor. But thank you. And now I would like to invite, I would give a introduction for Sonia Sadiq Gandhi. She's actually a genius, and from being an international student, Sonia is a serial entrepreneur and a champion of diversity and inclusion. She is an Australian Indian who arrived in New South Wales from India in '98, and she is a Master of Commerce with major in Human Resources from Western Sydney University, which is our honorably like our participants as well. And in the fearless fashion that Sonia regularly embodies, she founded a multi-award winning marketing and events enterprise, Gandhi Creations Proprietary Limited, a marketing and events agency that has for over a decade created sustainable platforms in response to business, social, and cultural needs of our communities. So through a suite of annual business and community initiatives, Gandhi Creations actively works to service and support Australia's creative and business sector by providing opportunities for Indigenous, migrant, refugee, cultural, and linguistically diverse groups. Sonia's work directly promotes a more diverse Australia by engaging with multicultural communities and has executed over 550 events in her career. On a broader level, the work she produces has served as meeting grounds for the exchange of ideas between nations and platforms for enhanced cultural diplomacy and improved foreign investment and trade. Over the years, she has also gained respect and trust of several high-profile state government departments, for whom she has produced a series of multi-stakeholder projects and national significance. Sonia was appointed to the board of Multicultural New South Wales in 2017, the peak government agency whose purpose is to build and maintain a cohesive and harmonious multicultural society that enriches the lives of all the people of New South Wales. Sonia has been nominated as an Australia Day Ambassador 5 years in a row in recognition for her work across diversity and inclusion initiatives by the Australia Day Council. And she was appointed by ICC, the Cricket Club, T20 World Cup Australia Board as a 2020 brand ambassador, actively promoting the tournament and specifically the ICC Women's Tournament 20 World Cup. Sonia also was recognized as a Paul Harris Fellow by Rotary International in 2014 and was recently appointed as an ambassador for the Mental Health Foundation of Australia. And she continues her ongoing charity work with organizations such as Alzheimer's Australia, Beyond Blue, and National Breast Cancer Foundation. So she's got a long history in creating this diversity, cultural diversity and inclusion. Even Sonia invites communities to engage across innovative platforms. She has founded such as Fabrics of Multicultural Australia, FORMA. That's the event that's conducted every year. And then a sustainable platform that stimulates economic growth for the creative sector, generates bilateral trading opportunities while fostering social cohesion. She is also the founder of India Australia Business and Community Awards, an international initiative that celebrates the India Australia relationship while is simultaneously contributing to its development. APCAS has achieved international recognition as a tool for cultural diplomacy, bilateral trade development between the two countries. And she's also a strategic advisor and producer of the 31st annual the Western Sydney Awards for Business Excellence, the premier platform for the Great Western Sydney region, the engine room of the New South Wales economy. WSABE stretches across 150 postcodes and has representation from local, state, and federal governments. Sonia is also the strategic advisor and producer of recently launched Salvation Army multicultural campaign for the state of New South Wales. And the list goes on. Most importantly, Sonia is a proud mom of 5-year-old and a supportive husband, blessed with a beautiful family, and continue to inspire her at every stage. Sonia maintains meaningful relationships with family and friends by perfectly balancing her personal, professional career, and believes that an all-rounded effort goes a long way in one's overall sense of well-being, development, and success. Sonia is blessed to live in Australia, a land of opportunities, and continues to promote intercultural connectivity and community collaborations, working towards a stronger, more unified Australia. Thank you, and thanks for being like our guest today, like as a guest of honor. And we are really honored to have you, Sonia. Just off to you, and welcome on our platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vanita, and I must apologize to everyone. I didn't realize you were going to read the entire bio, so please forgive me. And, I thank you for the kind introduction, but that was a lot, and I'm very, very pleased and blessed to say a few words. I've got a few minutes, so can I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting virtually here today, and pay my respects to their elders, both past, present, and emerging. And also thank and commend the work of so many industry leaders I've been listening in who are adding value to this conversation of globalization of Ayush. Of course, I loved your presentation, Yasmin, and the importance of the industry practitioners and the role that they play. And the question that was asked by Amarjeet was absolutely significant in continuing that dialogue. Can I also commend the work of the ASSOCHAM and the collaboration that you've created in this space by forming the Australasian Pacific Council of Ayush Science, Dr. Vanita Sharma. And look, as a serial entrepreneur, I believe that a lot can be leveraged here, but in terms of globalization of Ayush. But my question is, how do we capture a bigger share in the global wellness market? And I'm going to talk about a real 2-minute bare bones approach. Of course, the qualifications part, the momentum, the dialogue, the regulatory part of it is something that I will leave to you as industry panelists. But I'm going to talk to you about a very strategic marketing approach from an Ayush point of view, taking the view and the role model of the fabulous work that was done when Prime Minister Modi announced the of course, the International Day, but it was a real movement. So we run a platform called the APCAS, which basically is the last connects globally the business diaspora, and we have people from on our board. Basically, that platform, and I must congratulate Dr. Vanita Sharma, the Foreign Minister of Australia, actually handed out you the award for Businesswoman of the Year a few years ago, is to leverage the opportunities that our diaspora places, which is truly making them Ayush ambassadors. So thinking from a complete blank canvas in terms of the questions that we get asked around what Ayush is and what Ayurveda is, and is it naturopathy, is it complementary medicine, where does it fit in? I think if we look at a real natural approach to creating that awareness through mainstream activation pop-ups, through possibly creating a program that keeps people connected. I'm not sure how many of you are aware that the Australian government had produced a strategy called the India Economic Strategy, a very ambitious plan actually to transform Australia's economic partnership with India up to 2035. And this is to get the strategy right. Of course, healthcare is a very big part of it. The response to that was recently released late last year by former Ambassador Anil Wadhwa, who is an APCA board member, around what India can do in response to that. So when you look at that, I think a lot of you are aware that we have nearly 1 million people of the diaspora who can act as ambassadors for this program to be able to take it to the next level. And I keep going back to the tremendous success of yoga because that's how that was achieved, through the diaspora. So I guess the conversation to be had is the amazing work that the Indian High Commission and the Consulate does here around the awareness piece of Ayurveda, which is very, very critical. But I also think it would be a missed and a lost opportunity if to increase the market size of this segment, if we are not creating that awareness, if we are not using the diaspora, which can actively, each one of us, including myself, act as ambassadors. And I've mentioned to Dr. Vanita Sharma just a week ago that we're very happy to open the IAPCA event, which is, thousands of people, and have probably a 2 to 3 minute presentation on what the ministry is up to and what Ayurveda actually means to a mainstream audience. Because I'm also a very strong believer, as much as you are preaching to the converted, which is the diaspora, which of course knows about the world's oldest traditional medical practice, I think it's very important to talk to the mainstream about it, because consistently there are the questions through the mainstream. And how do we do that? Well, there is connectivity through major events like Mind, Body and Spirit, big activation and trade shows that take place across Australia in each state, a possible collaboration and a possible, with these major events to ensure that visually the Ayurveda conversation creates that impact, because visual impact for mainstream audience is absolutely critical. So I think I wish all of you the very best. I'm just looking at the time, and I'm sure you have a lot more speakers to go. So I thank you for having me here, and I'd love to take any questions if there are any. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Sonia. That was absolutely fantastic. And thanks for offering that partnership. And we really look forward for very productive outcome out of this industrial meet today. And we do look forward at having a dialogue going, especially with having to conduct an event in collaboration with APCA. And thank you so much for your time today, and especially taking out and giving us insights and your wonderful experience that you shared with us. I would now like to invite Amarjeet Singh Bamra. He's already there, and already asked question to Yasmin, I believe. So what we are going to do is before we have Amarjeet Singh, I'll just give his introduction. The year 2018 led to the launch of a new UK-India Tech Alliance announced by Prime Ministers May and Modi in London, amongst this iconic list of most influential people in UK. India relations includes the name of Amarjeet Singh Bamra, helping to elevate the bilateral relationships to a new level. He has been instrumental in ensuring Ayurveda remains at the heart of the soft power alliances between India, UK, and Europe. On 18th of April 2018, he was a part of the launch of a new Indian Traditional Sciences Centre of Excellence by HRH, Prince Charles, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Also, Amarjeet is the founder and secretariat at the UK All-Party Parliamentary Group, which is APPG, and he is also mentioned on our website as our international collaborator and advisor associated with APCAS. So we are really honored to have his expertise in the industry for so long on Indian traditional sciences, and he's a prominent lecturer, practitioner, and an author. He continues constantly to encourage members of parliament, deputies, assembly members, diplomatic COPs, and other decision makers, including the public, to promote increased support for research and prevention medicine for a pluralistic approach to our health and wellness. Amarjeet believes in a holistic approach that enshrines the body, mind, and soul, aiming to treat the cause, not just the symptom of the disease, thus helping the body release as healing potential. The aim of any holistic application is to empower the patients through knowledge and education so as to help them informed choices and prudent decisions. His Ayurveda and yoga training programs are world renowned for the clarity of the presentation and structure, with a unique, charismatic, entertaining style, and his professional workshops are always packed with practical and spiritual knowledge that will give the student a level of understanding and expertise which would not normally be available from the training courses, perhaps even in India. Thank you, and welcome on board, Amarjit ji. Thank you.
Yes. A very good morning. Namaste. Can everybody hear me? Yes, very good. So it's very early here in London at the moment. Vinita ji got me out of my bed at 4 o'clock this morning. Normally, I would use this time, to sit, quietly and to reflect on, and share some moments with the source. But today, it's my privilege to share my moments and thinking, with all you beautiful souls there in Australasia and India. So thank you so much for inviting me, Vanita ji, and all the wonderful hard work that you're doing to, keep Ayurveda and Ayush systems, afloat there in Australasia, and great work that you're doing. I just really want to, if I may, follow on from my predecessor there, Sonia ji. And I think there were some really interesting things that she indicated. Um, I don't know if she's still there at the moment on the screen. Are you still there, Sonia ji? Is
Yes,
she
very
gone?
much here.
All right, very good.
Summer.
So we've been thinking about this for so long, and we bought this old Parliamentary group on Indian traditional sciences, which basically are all the Irish systems. And this is a very powerful group, that we've set up, and it's a parliamentary group consisting only of parliamentarians, and they work, obviously for the parliament. The idea really is that how to break the deadlock, and because most of this very challenging work that we're up against is really conducted by the policymakers. Then unfortunately, policymakers, they don't really have sufficient amount of knowledge on mind, body, spirit medicine systems. And then, of course, our real challenge is an industry, which I don't really want to go into right now, but I think all of you know who I mean. So we have this group, and I'm very privileged to sort of look after this group. I administer the group, and it's a group of about 30 UK parliamentarians, cross-party parliamentarians in both Houses of Lords and House of Commons. So we're very privileged, and if I may say so, that I think this is possibly the only group of its kind, which is actually, promoting and trying to make a government, understand about the legitimization of all these sciences, because we have this very unique opportunity now as we go forward in our life, in our lifetime, to make something substantial happen like this, because further generations will not be able to, to reflect and hold this baton from, from where we have come from. So I think this is terribly important that we do this right now to bring in legitimization to the Indian tradition. And
Just
I
on your
think that,
point, Mr. Bamra, there is a group here called the Parliamentary Friends of India. All the Australian parliamentarians are on it, and I would be absolutely honored to connect you with the chair of that group, who's a parliamentary person himself. And I think there's a bit of work to be done there in terms of conversation to be had. Thank you.
yes, I would be really grateful, and I think it would be like I was suggesting, to Yasmin. I think it would be really wonderful if we can have a exchange group of parliamentarians, really specifically looking at the Irish systems, the Indian traditional sciences, and perhaps some of our parliamentarians can come over to you and visit them and let them know how what they're actually doing, and so that would be really wonderful. So we're organizing quarterly meetings in the Houses of Parliament, to update and bring about the concept of that actually prevention is better than cure, and how it can safeguard and how it can save the nation so many billions of UK, pounds. So the idea is that so since then we've had some very major breakthroughs over the last 8 years since the group has actually been there on the ground. We have now, and I'm very happy to share this with you, that UK is the first country outside India which is now conducting a major trial study on certain Ayurvedic herbs to combat long COVID. And the study is actually being led here by some very important clinical institutions. And we're going into a 1 year phase of the study, and then hopefully, with the grace of the source, we will come, through with very poignant um, um, uh, results, which hopefully will then be translated, through all the scientific and technical journals, and that will really bring Ayurveda, up, to the level of some sort of recognition, instead of people thinking, when you talk to some of the policymakers and some of our other friends on the other side, they think maybe Ayurveda is the name of some sort of a pizza. So that's where we are at the moment. And the final thing I want to really share with you also, and I think with all the esteemed with the panel here, Sonia ji, and all the wonderful people, is that we initiated the concept of Center of Excellence, for Indian traditional sciences. And obviously, India has many universities and hospitals and colleges and institutions. And obviously, Prime Minister Modi elevated the Department of Ayush into a Ministry of Ayush. So I think we deserve to have these centers of excellence, at least one in each continent. So we have embarked on this, and we, both the APPG on Indian Traditional Sciences, have arranged a very important meeting, between His Royal Highness Prince Charles and Prime Minister Modi back when he last came here to London, and they diligently vowed to support such a center of excellence, and in fact went as far as unveiling a plaque which has to be installed whenever the center is physically comes through. And I'm now working very hard to establish this center, and hopefully I'll be sending this link to all. I'd like to send this link to all of you via Vanita ji, so that you can see what we want, what we're trying to do here, and seek a little bit of your financial support. But my main thought that I'd like to share with you this morning is really, I'm here this morning in London, is to find a way to see how we can look at establishing a resource center, for not just Indian traditional sciences, but everything to do with complementary and alternative medicine, where people, I mean, there is no one who does not have a problem, whether it's a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. We all, all the people on the planet have a problem, and we are all looking, for non-invasive, safe treatment, and Ayush systems provide that. And we have an obligation, our generation has that obligation to leave this legacy for future generations. So I'd like to come and hold hands with all of you to see how we can initially, set up the pilot project here in London, for the Center of Excellence. But more importantly, is then how do we actually spread this, throughout, and that goes so much in that's so much in relevant to your thinking, Sonia ji. How do we create these ambassadors? And I think that we need ambassadors, not only just the diaspora, but not just the ethnic community. Every individual on this planet should be an ambassador for you know as a it's their birthright to have a good health. And the whole situation that I think we're talking about today is really to do with healthcare and not sick care. So I want to thank you, Vanita ji, again for bringing along very high profile list of panelists here, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some of my humble thoughts with you. I wish you tons of luck, and I mean, I don't know, it was Australia Day today, so congratulations on Australia Day and congratulations on the Republic Day of India. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind.
It was Australia Day on the same day as Republic Day, Amarjiti. So we shared that day like gracefully, and that's what Australia and India is always excited to have the Republic Day and Australia Day on the same day. But thank you very much, and apologies for getting you to get out of bed like so early. Like I know it's almost going to be like 5 a.m. like in UK. So thank you and appreciate. But now I would like to invite Professor Dennis Chang. I'll just be giving a quick brief bio because I think we are running behind on time. So I think we should stick to our just like our talks, and we can have the dialogue going afterwards. So I would quickly introduce, and honored to have Professor Dennis Chang, who was very, very occupied, but on our personal request by APCAS and ASSOCHAM, he was able to come today. And Dennis Chang is the director of Nikam Health Research Institute and a professor of pharmacology at Western Sydney University. Professor Chang is recognized internationally as a leading researcher in pharmacological and clinical studies of herbal medicine used for neurodegenerative disease, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic syndrome. He has more than 100 research publications and attracted more than $7 million Australian dollar research funding support from various funding agencies, governments, and industry. Professor Chang had also held a number of academic leadership roles within the university, including the research director of the School of Science and Health. He initially trained in medicine and received postgraduate training in pharmacology. Over to you, Professor Dennis. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanita. I think I can share these slides. That's great. All right, good morning to colleagues in India and good afternoon for everyone in Australia. So I would first of all like to thank Vanita and Paminda for the kind invitation. I would also like to acknowledge distinguished guests and speakers in this webinar as well. I guess in the next 5 minutes or so, I would like to provide you with a very brief outline who we are and what we're doing within so-called Nikam Health Research Institute at Western Sydney University, and more importantly, to talk about our Ayurvedic chair programs within Nikam. So just a quick little bit of history. We are the National Institute, so Nikam stands for National Institute of Complementary Medicine, which is one of the largest integrated medicine research facilities in the world. And obviously, we are the Australia's leader in the integrated and complementary medicine research. So Nikam was established back into 2007 by the federal government of Australia, and to be able to play this national institute role and to coordinate the research effort in integrated medicine. So our impact and quality of our research in complementary medicine is obviously evidenced by the 5-star rating by this Australian government's Excellence in Research for Australia, we call ERA, which means that we conduct our research at a level that is well above the world standard. So we have that rating over the last 3 consecutive triennials, which really says a lot. So we do have a very strong international links with China, South Korea, Japan, US, and UK and Austria, of course, India as well. So over the last 20 years or so, we have established 3 very strong research platforms, including preclinical, clinical, and translational platform. So in the preclinical areas, so we conduct a whole range of pharmacology and herbal analysis laboratory research. So we have one of the only 2 TGA, which is the drug regulator in Australia, accredited herbal analysis laboratory, allowed us to conduct certified analysis of the herbal product and stability testing. So we have state-of-the-art PC2 pharmacology laboratory. We have medicinal cannabis laboratory, and we're also constructing a GMP manufacturing facility, which will be completed later in this year. By that time, we'll be able to manufacture herbal and nutraceutical products under GMP condition within our institute. In the clinical areas, so we are doing lots of clinical trials of phase 2, phase 1, many phase 2 and phase 3 for a whole range of conditions like dementia, diabetes, and women's health, cancer, using complementary medicine intervention just to evaluate efficacy and safety of those interventions. So we're collaborating with lots of leading clinical researchers and clinicians in Australia and internationally as well, including New Zealand, Canada, etc. So in the translational research, we are actually just about to start our so-called Western Sydney Integrated Health Clinic, which is a multidisciplinary clinic led by general practitioners and who will be working with a team of herbalists, acupuncturists, yoga practitioners, as well as music therapists, psychologists, and just to see patients together in an integrated manner, and then compare that the patient's treatment outcome to the standard care, which is one of the first academic integrated medicine clinic in Australia. So we are very committed to build a very strong Ayurvedic research program within Nikam Health Research Institute. We have years of experience conducting yoga and meditation trials, and then especially for mental health and for cancer. For example, one of the research projects we're currently doing is to evaluate yoga, the effect of yoga for women with breast cancer for the condition induced by the radiation therapy, which is lymphedema, to see whether yoga can help those patients with that. And we're also doing lots of preclinical as well as clinical research with herbal medicine, including Ayurveda herbs, and where we're doing pharmacology, we're doing herbal analysis, as well as clinical research and clinical trials of various herbal products for various conditions. We are very proud to be the first and also the only Australia's public university to sign an MOU with Indian Ministry of Ayush towards the end of last year to establish an academic chair in Ayurvedic medicine within Nikam Health Research Institute, which is very exciting. So we actually have been working closely with Ministry of Ayush, and we anticipate this chairperson will be on board later this year, so which will allow us to undertake a whole range of activities such as promoting academic research activities in Ayurveda and yoga in Australia, designing and developing academic training programs and to be offered at the university level, and also provide some academic leadership in teaching, research, and policy development relating to Ayurvedic medicine in Australia, and also, of course, collaborating with university research organization industry. Obviously, some of you sitting here today, and then and consumers in Ayurveda medicine in Australia, obviously conducting seminars, conferences on Ayurveda medicine. Like I said, it's a very exciting programs, and we are very determined to make it work and then to build scientific evidence to support the use of Ayurvedic medicine in Western countries, starting in Australia. And we are very interested in working with all of you sitting here today. And then I'm looking forward to have conversation about future collaboration and support to our Ayurvedic research program. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Dennis,
thank you so much, Dennis. Like, yes, questions are invited. Like, Amarjitji, I think you wanted to ask. Just if you can be a little concise, like that would be appreciable, because we are just like running behind a lot of time. Thank you.
I was just going to come in because there was a little silence. So Dennis, that was really remarkable and really nice to hear all the amazing work that you are doing down there, you know, with Ayurveda. It would be nice to stay connected also, because, you know, to have, you know, for you to have this link, you know, with our study here on long COVID. And we're also working quite closely with Kew, you know, the largest botanical gardens here in Europe. So it would be quite interesting to stay connected and see how we can share the findings and the research here being conducted on long COVID. So maybe I'll have the pleasure of hearing from you. Thank you so much.
That would be great. So in fact, we have a collaboration with Kew Garden as well. In various of the botanical and medicinal herbs. So as you mentioned, that it's really it comes down to global effort, and then between countries we can form some kind of alliance and to collaborate and to form partnership to tackle those issues, and we really to promote the practice of evidence-based Ayurvedic medicine.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Dennis. It was such an honor to have you today, and we definitely look forward, like, for further association. Amarjit Bamra is our international collaboration advisor in APCAS in our organization. So we are definitely looking forward, like, for further collaborations and partnerships, like, moving forward. Thank you for your time today. And now I would request Manish to play Minister Dantan's video. I think like it's working now. So thankfully, like if you can do that quickly.
Sure, ma'am.
Thanks.
Sure.
It's not working.
It's not audible,
Manish?
right, ma'am? It's not audible.
Yeah, not audible.
Okay.
Do you want me to play the voice from here? And you can have a picture there.
For a while. Let me just try once from my side as well, because it's not going to be played anymore.
Okay.
Trying to play it, ma'am.
Manish, if you just play the picture, I can play the video from here and the voice can come from here. Instead of me talking, I can just play the video.
My screen is visible. My screen is visible.
Voice. Can I show like on my phone?
The Australasian Pacific Council of Ayush Science.
Can't see the screen. We can see your folder view, not the video, Manish.
Video is not there, right, sir?
No,
It's
video.
only the folder showing a little bit on the side. Yeah.
Right. Got it, ma'am. Just a
I'm
moment.
going to share that window.
Right. Is it showing now?
Manish, you can do one thing. You give me the presentation, right? I just play the video and Vanita ma'am play the audio.
Yeah, true.
Just a moment. Just let me. Yes, Kalloji, please go ahead.
Play the video?
Yes, ma'am. You please play the video.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vanita Sharma. The Australasian Pacific Council of Ayush Sciences and the Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry of India for the invitation to speak today. First of all, I hope that everyone celebrated in their own way India's Republic Day on Wednesday. It is, of course, made extra special in the 75th year of India's independence. This is a timely moment to reflect not only on India's achievements over this period, but also on the significant contribution the Indian diaspora community has made and continues to make to Australia's way of life. As His Excellency President Ram Nath Kovind said during his visit to Australia in 2018, the diaspora is indeed the living bridge joining both our countries. Today we find ourselves at a time of unprecedented strength in the Australia-India bilateral relationship. Despite the challenges both our countries faced in 2021 and indeed continue to grapple with, our resolve to bring our countries closer together only grew stronger. I travelled to India for the first time as Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment in late September, where I enjoyed a deep discussion with my good friend Piyush Goyal, Minister of Commerce and Industry, on ways to enrich our trade and investment relationship. During my visit, we formally launched the resumption of negotiations on a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement. This included a commitment to conclude by the end of 2022. Both our countries remain firmly committed to including a balanced trade agreement which delivers benefits to our people and economies and helps strengthen the rules-based international trading system. Those discussions have continued apace. As a matter of fact, Minister Goyal and myself have been meeting weekly over the Christmas New Year period, and I'll speak to him again on Friday. We are both determined to make as much progress as quickly as we possibly can to conclude this agreement by the end of the year as we possibly can. And I'd like to thank my good friend, Minister Goyal, for the way that he has engaged with me over the last couple of months to really make sure that this FTA is one that we will both be proud of and both our countries will be proud of. When it comes to an area of great interest to you, we're also making great progress. India is well known as a pharmaceutical and therapeutic goods giant, truly the pharmacy to the world. It's not difficult to see the benefit an agreement might have in facilitating increased trade and investment in this area and in other sectors. Finally, I would like to acknowledge the strong role India continues to play in supporting the global response to COVID-19. It has done this while managing its own domestic response, and this represents an extraordinary contribution to global efforts to tackle the pandemic. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you today, and I wish you all the best for this event. And it's my hope that I will be able to return to India again in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Manish. I hope finally we could play the video. That's a pleasure. And we are really grateful towards the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade for arranging this special message to the Indian diaspora and to the Indians in India, along with our Australian community. And I now would like to invite, I'll just give a brief of Dr. Gayatri. Sorry, just a second. I'll just introduce her. Dr. Gayatri Rajgopal. She's a director in JRK's Research and Pharmaceuticals, and managing research and development, manufacturing operations, new product introduction, supply chain, packaging, concept development since '98. A multifaceted, hands-on professional with experience in management of end-to-end operations and product planning in a research-based herbal pharmaceutical company. Keen learner and a result-oriented person with a passion to see the organization grow into a global enterprise and have contributed immensely to the spirit and growth of the organization. I would really be honored and pleased to have Dr. Gayatri on board now. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Vanitha, for the wonderful introduction. And thankful to ASSOCHAM for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this esteemed panel for discussing globalization of Ayush in Australia. So a quick introduction about Dr. JRK's Research and Pharmaceuticals. I'm the director of Dr. JRK's Research and Pharmaceuticals. We manufacture research-based herbal medicines for autoimmune disorders like psoriasis, vitiligo, and we have also got products in hair care for dry skin and many other immune boosting and all that. So Dr. JRK's research as a company has been there for the last 30 years, and we manufacture predominantly Siddha proprietary medicines. So I was listening to all of you talk about products getting registered in Australia, and Dr. JRK's research is there. We export to many countries in the world, and yes, given an opportunity, we would like to be there. And yes, today I got introduced to Yasmin and Dr. Vanitha. Yes, when ASSOCHAM approached me for this program, they spoke so highly about the various activities done by Dr. Vanitha in Australia, and I think the space is now very clear for registering Ayush products. So as an Ayush manufacturer, definitely I feel that the first step would be the huge Indian and Asian diaspora which is living in Australia and their familiarity with the Ayush products. So I think that will be a very good step for us to go there and take products like classical products like ashwagandha, guduchi, which are now very popular during the pandemic for immune boosting, and of course, Siddha products. I think you would have all heard about Nilavembu Kudineer, Kabasura Kudineer, which became very popular throughout the world to prevent the pandemic for the coronavirus. It was used, and for stress relief, ashwagandha was used predominantly across the world. So they are very good candidates, I feel, for registration in Australia. And of course, Ayush drugs fall under complementary medicines. And one more thing I would like to say is Siddha is also an ancient system of medicine. So Dr. Sadiq was asking me to talk about Siddha medicine. Yes, like Ayurveda, it is a very, very ancient system of medicine which has got a lot of holistic approaches towards treatment benefits. And Siddha is also, like Ayurveda, can be a complementary medicine in treating many diseases. In fact, we have a lot of good medicines to treat psoriasis. I think during the inflammatory and remission phases, to use products in Siddha has been very, very beneficial to many of our patients across the world. So I think also diabetes, where a lot of treatment approaches are being accepted by people. I think products in Ayush can really create a big difference to the patients and to their health. So I was going through the entire guidelines of the Department of Health, TGA Australia, Therapeutic Goods Administration Australia, about the registration of the products in Australia. We need to understand more about the guidelines, clear-cut guidelines, and if I think we can do all that, entry should be very easy. And I also read that TGA defines that it is very difficult to register products which have ingredients which are not defined under the listed ingredients schedule of Australia. And if the indication of the drug is a bit higher than what is allowed for complementary medicines like autoimmune disorders or anything else, I think it might take a longer time involved with the documentation to prove the therapeutics of the product. I would request Dr. Vanita and Yasmin King, who are here, to create the platform for Ayush manufacturers with the government of Australia, and also advises as to which indications can be easily registered in Australia. Because as of now, we do not have anybody, but yes, I was listening to Dr. Dennis, and I think there are many people who are there to help Indian manufacturers to set foot in Australia. It would be a big dream for all of us to register our products, and also you need to help us, Dr. Vanita, to make sure that these products are also prescribed by you there, so that the products can be there in the country, and also we would be having a continuous and long-standing association with the country. So I think the efforts by you will be really, really appreciated by all of us in our country. So that is also there. And I also have some recommendations for the Ministry of Ayush, and also from Ayush promoting bodies like our ASSOCHAM. So we must set up some nodal agency in countries like Australia, which offer rich potential for us. So we will be able to decode the guidelines and easily enable cost-efficient registration. Because when I went through the guidelines, and also I looked at Yasmin's presentation, I could see that the cost involved is also very high, which could be on par with allopathic companies. So I think the cost factor also needs to be considered. So I think the Ministry of Ayush and of course our PM Modi ji, I think they should enable us to make sure that we register the products and the approval of the products. To register the products is not very easy. So I think for the approval, it has to be enabled. And of course, we request the Ministry of Ayush to get independent approvals from TGA for effective and well-known formulations, like the single herb products of Gudichi, Amlaki, Ashwagandha, Guglu, so which have been proven to be effective from time immemorial. It is known very well by the Indian diaspora, and I'm very sure most of the Indians there would be using these products whether they got it from India or elsewhere, these products would be used very well by the Indian community there. So I don't know, I also wanted to ask whether some products from India are registered in Australia, because I was trying to get some information from ASSOCHAM last week, whether any company has, Ayush company has been able to register their products in Australia so that we can take some guidance from them to register our products there in Australia. So that was one thing which I wanted to know. And we also want to know how we should standardize the raw materials, the ingredients, the raw herbs, which has been a very big challenge for the Ayush manufacturers, if you see. That it is very difficult to standardize the herbs. If we are given proper guidelines to standardize the raw materials, so it's going to be a very easy passage for us to register the products in Australia. So I also request the Department of Health in Australia to tie up with the health experts and consultants in India and advise them to enable the fast track approvals of proprietary medicines that have a long legacy in the country. See, so there are many products which have been there, proprietary products, very well known, with a lot of clinical trials which have happened, which are almost similar to what allopathic companies have done. So I would request them to just identify and help such products to be registered in Australia, because Ayush drugs are safe for long-term use without side effects. And there are good products which come with the preclinical and of course in vitro clinical trials, in vitro trials and clinical trials. And the biggest hurdle for Ayush products to register in Australia is to establish the safety of the ingredients as expected. I think the guidelines are very clearly defined that safety should be, proven in a detailed manner along the expected guidelines. So that is also a very, very expensive and long run process. And we should also understand how the traditional Chinese medicines have been registered, because I think many of them have registered in Australia. So I think if in our country, if the Ayush manufacturers are given a roadmap to register our products, I think it's going to be very easy, because many of the Ayush companies with very good products are registered in many countries. Dr. JRK's research, for instance, we have many products registered in the UK, and we've been regularly exporting products, but we have found it a bit of a roadblock with Australia. So I also request ASSOCHAM and other Ayush promoting councils to conduct fairs, exhibitions, or road shows so that we can showcase the uniqueness and benefits of our products to Australian businesses and entrepreneurs who might be willing to import the products, and encourage us to take these products because they have no side effects. And for many indications, I think they will do very well along with the modern medicines. So at Dr. JRK's research, we have a huge demand coming from Australia. Long ago, we have also sent products to patients personally, but we have not been, I think for the past 2 decades almost, we have tried our best to register our products in Australia, and it has not been very easy for us. And so I request the esteemed panel here to help all the Ayush companies to register the products. And I think Ayurveda is more popular in Australia from what the discussion has been all about. And as Dr. Sadiq said, yes, Siddha has got many good products. I think Unani, homeopathy. I think all of us come with our own uniqueness. So request you to help all of us to register our products in Australia. And I thank ASSOCHAM for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with our esteemed members in this panel. And I'm very confident in the next couple of years, many of our Ayush products are going to get popularized in Australia thanks to the efforts of pioneers like Dr. Vanita and Yasmin and Dennis Chang. I think many of you are there who are there to take up this initiative on behalf of the Ayush manufacturers in India. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You are most welcome, Dr. Gayatri. It was a lovely, lovely talk that you actually gave, and definitely, Dr. Gayatri, look, I had one of the colleague who was working with me in my practice, like she was actually a Siddha medicine practitioner. So it is accepted in Australia as Ayurveda, equivalent to Ayurveda only. So we definitely would be able to look at getting this Siddha medicine into our system, and that shouldn't be a problem. But we can definitely discuss about all the challenges like after the meeting, because we are running behind with the time, unfortunately. So we have to keep moving, and because we need insight from other like specialists like Dr. Professor Dilip Ghosh, who has been in the industry for almost like a decade like now. I would like to invite Dr. Dilip. Like I'll just give a quick synapse on his profile. Just give me a second, sorry. Dr. Dilip Ghosh, like he is a PhD and a director, like from NutriConnect Sydney. I'll just go with his brief like portfolio. He's got a lot to offer to the industry, and his expertise is very wide. So I'll just go with what he does and what he's engaged with. He's a director in Trigonella Labs Proprietary Limited, Sydney, adjunct fellow NICM NICM, which is the Health Research Institute in Western Sydney University, adjunct professor Kasturba Health Society, Medical Research Centre, Mumbai, India, advisor Health and Dietary Supplements Association, India, advisor the Society for Pharmacology, India, SFE, India, Ambassador Global Harmonization Initiatives, Austria, Sydney, Australia. He is based in, and we had been seeing him involved like quite intensely with the industry, and even especially with the research factor, which is the most important factor we need to be considering, like to get Ayurveda recognized under the mainstream health system. Thank you, and over to you, Professor Dilip. Like, welcome. Thank you.
And good morning to my Indian friends, and good afternoon to my Australian friends. So I would like to thank you, Parminder Kaurji and Dr. Subrata Roy, and also our Deshi girl, Vanita ji. Especially, Parminder ji asked me to cover some commercial and some market entry part, I think, which is very, very important for Indian partners to enter into the Australian market with your products, with your ingredients. So I would like to give you some top level information. And if you need any other further information, you can contact me personally also. So just share my. So today we are talking about globalizing Ayush, and we are focusing on India-Australia partnership. So if you see, the Ayurveda recognized as system of medicine in 16 countries. You can see there are few European country, few South American country, but mostly South Asia and some other Gulf countries also. But Ayurvedic practice are partially recognized in Romania, Latvia, Serbia, Slovenia. Unfortunately, Ayurveda is not recognized yet in Australia and New Zealand or any Oceania country as a system of medicine. Next one, I think the market dynamics is very important to you, because for the industry people, The projected global market for herbal medicine will be $111 billion by 2023, next year. The current valuation of Indian herbal market, that is $660 million. But the growth is very good, 14%. That is the Indian market. If you see the Ayurveda in global market, that is 9.5 and nearly $10 billion. And expected growth is 10.8, that is almost 11%, and to the top of 21 billion. It's not bad, but if you compare with the traditional herbal medicine, that is over 80 to 90 billion dollar. So that means we are far behind of the traditional Chinese medicine. Ayush product, there are some good news also, are exporting more than 100 foreign countries, including Australia also, either medicine or food supplement. I will tell you the story also, Australian story. You can see the right hand side, our previous health minister, Dr. Harshvardhan. Ayurveda economy has seen up to 90% growth post-COVID. And Dr. Rajesh Kotecha ji, he is the secretary of Ministry of Ayush. He mentioned 44% in 9 months. So now it is 49% export growth in overseas country. And that's an incredible thing during this pandemic. If we concentrate on the Oceania, that is Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and Tonga, you can see when you compare the Oceania market size, when you compare with the North America, Africa, and Europe, that is very small, only 1.75%. Whereas North America is 33, Europe 15, and Africa is 17%. But when you see the growth of this market, and this is from Pharmaxi, Pharmaceutical Export Council, they organized one dedicated webinar 2 months before on Oceania, and I also presented there also. If you see the Australian and New Zealand market growth, that is nearly 27%. And Australia is maybe 80% share, 348 million, New Zealand 53, and others are very less. So that means there is a potential this market for the Indian pharma and nutra industries. So when we are talking today, I will talk only nutraceutical or Ayurvedic medicine. So go for the Australian perspective. Very impressive. Although our population is 26-27 million people, but the revenue coming from complementary medicine, that is $5.5 billion. That is very close to the prescription medicine, and 2 billion growth over last 5 years. And if you see 76% Australian, they used complementary medicine. That means the market awareness, consumer awareness is very high in this area. And when you see the channel, a pharmacy is the prominent channel to sell the complementary medicine, and that is the 41 to 45%, and rest through the health food shop or natural therapy practitioners. And if you see the right hand side, 70 new ingredients approved in 2017. Just in 1 year, 70 new ingredients approved. That means that market is very dynamic. That means many companies they are applying for the new ingredient application also. Nutraceutical market growth in Australia, including Ayurvedic, when you compare with the pharmaceutical growth in Australia, that's only 2%. You can see that is from 22.85 billion to 25. That is only 2%. But in nutraceutical area, complementary area, that is 7.5% growth from 20 to 25. And because that growth is driven by elderly population at 65 and above in Australia, because Australia is considered one of the world capital of aging population. So what is complementary medicine? In Australia, we herbal medicine, including Ayush system, not all Ayush system, mostly Ayurveda and homeopathy, traditional medicine like traditional Chinese medicine, vitamins and minerals, nutritional supplement, homeopathic medicine, and aromatherapy product. So there is a very thin gap between food and medicine in Australia. So if there is any therapeutic claim on food and it is delivered under dosage format like capsule, a tablet or sachet, a dosage format, it will considered as a medicine, whether it is a complementary medicine or allopathic medicine. So this is medicine in Australia. So Australian regulation of complementary medicine, I think Gayatri was very interested, and most of the you also. Unfortunately, the TGA is very hard. I can say it's a hard barrier also, and that's why TGA is considered world best regulatory bodies. In complementary medicine, as you aware, there are listed medicine and there are registered medicine. But recently, just 2 years, maybe 1.5 years before, they introduced a new category that is called assessed listed medicine. So, and you have to be very careful. Ingredients and product, these are completely two different things. So there are maybe 40 to 60 Indian Ayurvedic ingredients are already approved, and that is in the TGA pre-approved ingredient list. And like ashwagandha, it is under pre-approved category. Like bacopa, brahmi, it is already in the pre-approved. And if you have something with these herbs, ingredients, you can easily go for it. You don't need to worry about everything. And cost is not that much. The listing cost is 700 Australian dollar. That is very less also. And registered medicine, if you want to go for the cure or management of the disease, like as Gayatri said, the diabetes, cancer, these are high level disease condition. So you cannot claim anything, because for listed medicine, they have a pre-approved claim. That means ashwagandha, they have maybe 3-4 pre-approved claim. You have to choose this claim. But if you have multiple clinical trials on the product, on the finished product, like 2 or 3 double-blinded placebo-controlled trial, and you got some new health indication, so you can then registered under assessed a category. And the advantage is not only the new outside of pre-approved claim, you can get 5 years marketing protection. That means no other company, they can use this extra claim also. And registered is a very high level, that is almost like a prescription drug, that you can go for the cure and alleviation or prevention of the high level disease also. Unfortunately, no big Indian Ayurvedic company like Patanjali, Himalayas, or Baidyanath, I don't know, they didn't want or they couldn't register. They have no product registered under TGA. And I will tell you there are some reason, but there are many Indian Ayurvedic ingredients that manufactured in India, we registered with TGA, either listed medicine or assessed quality also. It is not that you cannot register Indian ingredient based product in TGA, but you need some level of things, and what things I will tell you in the next slide. So as Professor Dennis Chang mentioned, we signed, we are very optimistic, very excited about all these activities we have done in last 3 years. We signed so far 3 MOUs, one with All India Institute of Ayurveda. You know, All India Institute of Ayurveda in Delhi is considered as the AIMS in Ayurveda. If you didn't visit, go and see their facility. So we signed MOU with them for the development of clinical research and education program on Ayurveda. We recently signed, as Professor Chang mentioned, we signed the MOU with All India Institute of Ayurveda and Ministry of Ayush for the Ayurvedic chair. And I believe next few months, they will send the chair position from India also to our university. And also, previous that, we signed another high-level MOU with Savitribai Phule Pune University. So it was previously called Pune University. Now they call Savitribai Phule University, Interdisciplinary School of Health Science. So we have done a MOU for the development of Ayurvedic research and policy area also. So everything going well. I think next 1 year to 2 years time period, not only in the clinical studies, we already started discussion with TGA also, how to integrate Ayush. As you know, we have 350 around Ayurvedic practitioners, but unfortunately they are not registered practitioners. They called that lifestyle consultant, but we are working with Ministry of Ayush how to register the Ayurvedic practitioners in Australia. We have done this before, maybe 8 years before. The all traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, now they are licensed practitioners in Australia. So from Nikam Health Research Institute, we have done this one. And how we can integrate? It's not a very quick process. It will take some time, but the bad thing is, maybe you are in the industry, you maybe know, last 6 months, TGA came on Ayurvedic formulation import from India heavily, and they confiscated nearly $500,000 product from that Australian importer from India, because they are not registered product with TGA. And that's why without registration, you cannot bring any product to Australia. So now these importer, they are working to register some of the product, but that will take some time also. So the way forward. So you need evidence-based quest for scientific research. So you need a strong quality, safety, and efficacy standard to register in Australia. Like safety means you have to done some toxicological study in 2 animals, short-term, long-term toxicology, some genotoxicity, some chromosome aberration toxicity. You need to quality, and that is one of the barrier for Indian exporter to export their product into Australia. It is that manufacturing quality. TGA only accept pharma GMP type of GMP quality. That is called either PIC GMP or European, or that is pharma GMP grade. But most of the Indian Ayurvedic product, either they manufactured under Ayush GMP, that is good for Indian market, but not for good for Australian market, or maximum WHO GMP also, and that is also not a pharma GMP. So high consumer awareness, 75 to 76%. That means Australia we considered as the world-based test market. If you can register your product with TGA, if you launch your product in Australia with high consumer satisfaction, you can smell success in any other country of the world, because this is one of the highest regulatory, and the consumer awareness are very, very high. And most of the product, these are marketing through doctors' advocacy, not doctor prescription, doctors' advocacy. Distribution channel, Australia, mostly the pharmacists as a distribution channel, but there are some dedicated practitioners only channel also. So like some like naturopath or traditional Chinese medicine, and in future also Ayurvedic practitioner can sell their product, and re-engineering marketing also. So In India, I think very less healthcare professional like doctors, they advocate or they prescribe Ayurvedic medicine, except few very strong brand. They have a lot of money to convince doctor, and the branding also. You need to develop branding for the consumer facing also. I think that is all. Just one thing, last thing. I don't say, as I said, Australia has nearly 350 Ayurvedic practitioners. They migrated from India mostly. But Australia's largest Ayurvedic medicine practitioners group is Australasian Ayurvedic Association, we called AAA. But I can't see any representation of AAA in this forum. This is a very, very important forum. And Ayurvedic practitioner will be the end user of this Ayurvedic formulation. So I would suggest, I think, develop a nice platform so the everybody can come and they contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Dilip, for putting, making an input and insight towards how we can really establish collaborations and what's the best way to actually set up the standards like. And I reckon that's what we do. Setting up the standards like through education and through skills IQ. That's why we are into this kind of like portfolio that we are developing research, like a research body, and as well as like setting up the standards in the complementary health industry. So all these pioneers and the industry specialists like skills IQ and all that, they can contribute in a lot of different ways. And practitioners are registered with all these different associations. So it's not that one is there and the other is not there. So it's the basis is already strong, and it all comes back at the end. It's the end user, like who is the practitioner, and our community, like whether it's Indian or Australians anywhere around the world. It matters like how it's brought to the end user. And we are really honored to have your insightful talk today and for your time. Thank you so much and appreciate. Now, I would really request Irfan Malikji, apology for making you wait. Like we are really, it's so interesting, and the questions keep coming back. Like I'm even trying to ignore and sticking to the time. So please accept our apology for making you wait. But yeah, like I think today everyone is going to have some kind of like a takeaway as an outcome from this industry meet. Like, and I think it was much needed. And I think we can organize more and conduct more of this kind of meets, like through our organization, which is pretty much like looking at making and fulfilling the dream of our Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, as to get Ayush globalized. And that's our aim and our vision, and we'll do it in all regards. And for whatever, like we would collaborate and do that. And we need people like yourself, like who are in the business council, to create like this having the Indian diaspora to basically connect and with the basically propagate Ayurveda to the whole Australian community and Indian community. So thank you so much for accepting the invite. And I would give a brief introduction about Irfan Malikji is a president in Australia-India Business Council, established in, he is for the New South Wales, the president, and established in 1986, the Australia-India Business Council was founded to foster bilateral relations between the two countries. We are the only premier non-profit organization with a mission to promote trade dialogue between India, Australia, through nurturing and maintaining close relationships in both countries with federal and state government agencies and diplomatic corporations and industry bodies. The AIBC is a national membership organization with active chapters in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, and Canberra, and maintains close relationships with federal and state government agencies, the diplomatic corps, and industry bodies, and showcases opportunities to the Australian business community through an active program of events. Welcome on board. Thank you, Irfan Malikji. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vanita. Namaskar, greetings, and best wishes on the occasion of the Australia Day as well as the Republic Day, which we had an amazing event ourselves at AIBC, which was profound. I'll come to that in a tick. But again, thank you for the brief introduction, and the apologies. I have to have this session and leave shortly because I'm heading out. But yeah, thank you again for the introduction. Our focus, of course, on business, trade, and investment, creating that business-to-business impact. Over and above that, I want to acknowledge that we have had a strong role to play with the India Economic Strategy 2035 with Dr. Peter Varghese, as well as Ambassador Wadhwa-led AES 2020, where AIBC and our representatives have contributed significantly to that. I also want to acknowledge that we have industry sector-focused chapters as well across various leading industries. You know, typically Australia, we've got energy, mining, and other financial services comes into play. However, we have a strong focus on healthcare, and this time we're looking to extend health, wellness, and Ayurveda to be included as well, to give significance and focus on that sector, and working in collaboration with industry bodies and bilateral bodies like yours, and really taking the conversation and engagement with Australian businesses. They need to be aware of Ayurveda a lot more, and we want to be an enabler for that. The other thing which I want to acknowledge is that our strong focus with our team, in fact, even the Australia Day, Republic Day ceremony, that event that we had a couple of days back, the focus was people to people connect to enable business to business outcome. So all the people on this forum, all of us have a significant, important role to play and influence the business to business outcome, whether it is the lobby group, the government agencies, to facilitate G2G, B2G, whatever it is, we all have to have that people to people connect. And as the living bridge as well, diaspora, we have a strong role to play. And I want to again acknowledge the event that we had a couple of days back. And I'll strongly recommend, if you have an opportunity to watch that. That was one of the best ever event done, I can call out, in the Australia-India bilateral space, where we had such a rich connect between the Indian business community and the indigenous Australian community. And I want to watch that space. I want all of you to watch that space, because I believe for Ayush and Ayurveda, which is the traditional medicine, indigenous business, because of their strong connect to herbal and earthen, the touch with the earthen connection they have, they will play a great role. And I want to really call out that we should look at indigenous business as well. And at AIBC, typically when there is bilateral opportunity, we look at SMLE segment, as in small, medium scale, large enterprises. But we have significantly recognized that our focus framework would be SMILES framework, which is small, medium scale, large enterprises, but also underpinning in a core is indigenous business for the I, and startups and innovative companies for the S as well. So that's a SMILES framework that we're going to be promoting, and we want to recognize even in the Ayurveda space, startups, which again, we've got some amazing success stories in India, they will play a key role to really create an impact in Australia. And also the indigenous business here will be a great enabler and partner for us as well on the ground. I want to reflect on, obviously I come from Kerala, originally from Kerala, India, and grew up with Ayurveda, you know, right through all around me in our family too. You know, Kodakal was Kotakal Ayurveda Shala is one of the most recognized ones where we grew up with that all around. Coming here, obviously, we never thought about it. In fact, I was accidentally, and I want to call this, I was accidentally invited to an event about 3-4 years back called East Meets West. And the focus was on complementary alternative medicine. And believe it or not, there was, other than me asking a question, and there were only few people from our diaspora there, predominantly various universities and research bodies. And apart from me asking a question about Ayurveda and raising that this is something which we should also recognize, I mean, there was no mention or talk of Ayurveda as being included. And of course, there was focus on Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and others and all. And they touched on some major areas like cancer and male-female infertility to other stress and mental health related issues where complementary medicine may have a bigger and more profound impact than allopathic and the usual medicine. So definitely, I felt about 4 years. I wish I had more, and I'm pleased to recognize that with the Ayush, the program, the initiatives, and also some of the leading experts on the panel, who with some of the familiar faces as well, Dr. Ghosh, Dr. Neeraj, Manish, all of them, and also international dignitaries. We definitely have got the right chord and right impact created. I want to, definitely I use acronyms and analogies a lot, and because it's also, embeds in your mind. I want to leave with 3 A's, which is required, and we all have a role to play. And the 3 A's which I use in my technology and our startup innovation and business strategic marketing space as well is A for awareness. So we all need to collectively create awareness very regularly. This is a great attempt and very important milestone that Dr. Vanitha and the team, the ASSOCHAM team, has curated. Ayush Council is created, but we want to create this awareness as a regular campaign, and I'll probably come back to how to later. Second, access to solutions. So access to solutions, how do we talk about it? How do we then leverage, and how do we get access to some of these solutions or companies, or to create that dialogue? We need to continue that providing access to solutions. And third, how do we collectively drive adoption? So the A for adoptions, awareness, access, and adoption, and how we can drive that through people, influencers, all the experts we have, and also leveraging industry bodies as well, just as Australia Business Council and others, to really create that impact. I want to also acknowledge some of the startups who may have a better, also access or entry into Australia because of the natural focus on innovation. So I want to recognize, great startups which has made a lot of noise in India, or really a lot of, impact in India, with Nirog Street, Ayurveda. Ayurveda was one of the apps recognized by Apple as well, one of the leading apps on App Store. Then Ayur Universe. All of these, we are looking to really foster pathways to launch them in Australia, even if it is getting them launched to create awareness and create a conversation, create a connect. We want to facilitate that. The other thing which I want to talk about is TGA. A lot has been talked about, and I recognize Dr. Ghosh and the rest of the team are probably actively working. But of course, it is what it is. I mean, we have to conform to these regulatory practices and standards, and that's nothing new, and it's similar to everyone. So what we need to do is, rather than this whole TGA being always seen as a big rock, a hard thing to deal with, I would strongly recommend, and collectively, we put a proposal forward for a grant or setting up a team where we could work with hand in hand with TGA, all the bodies involved, they have representation, and we pick about 3 or 5 companies as a pilot from India, which will be a learning exercise, which will be all documenting the framework, all the best practices, and then we execute a pilot program of, say, even 1 product or 2 products for each of these companies, and we go through that process and document and say this is how it is done, and we engage actively. And if we have help, and I'm happy to even reach out to DFAT through our connection with the Indian Economic Section connection, or bilateral, or even the AIC grant which is underway, which should be all explored to make sure we are able to execute a pilot project, which will be like a framework of a best practice way to deal with TGA. And I'm pleased to acknowledge, just last month in December, or end of November, we hosted an event together with the Consulate General India Sydney and AITTC, our partners, an event which was focused on Ayurveda, travel tech, and wellness, and where we recognized and acknowledged the launch of a company, MedCure, where they have successfully gone through they had the challenge, they did the mistake, they were penalized by TGA, but they acknowledged and they worked with TGA, and they've successfully launched 2 or 3 TGA approved products. And Dr. Ghosh and all the team have been very instrumental. So there's some lessons learned which can be shared within this forum and within this pilot program that can be then leveraged across by all the Ayurvedic companies or nutraceutical companies, how to go through and what are the best ways. And believe it or not, I mean, we go through TGA for our medtech companies, all the RAT2, all the testing masks, we go through that. So definitely how to, and putting a framework, doing a pilot, sharing those lessons learned, and then there is a blueprint prepared so that people can go through and see this is what it is. And a lot of work is done preemptively upfront rather than going through the TGA process and circling back and forth for further traction. So definitely putting a pilot program will be great, and we will be happy to work closely just as with the CGI to do more. Now, just to almost wrapping up and taking the cue from what Sonia mentioned, we want to have more advocates, more influencers, and more ambassadors. And one of the ideas I would leave, and this is from my technology background on how we launch new technologies or new practices into Australia. There's a great concept called meetups. And meetups are semi-formal, semi-informal meetups. We used to have quarterly, and then we made it very regularly monthly, where we bring all these industry bodies, we bring government, and even some of the companies showcase and talk about creating this awareness of these products and the opportunities, and regularly having that conversation and dialogue established. So definitely working towards a quarterly meetup. We at AIBC are keen to do these quarterly meetup in Ayurveda, Siddha, or Unani, whatever it is. We can bring those, and we can do at various locations, whether it's a town hall, at the startup hub, or the consulate, or even at DFAT. We'll be able to find partners, even at various research institutes and universities as well, Ramsay Healthcare, or the Georges Institute, or even the Ingham Institute. All these we can do in partnership, where there is a more connect with the Australians and Australian businesses that can be enabled as well. And rightly so, with the 75th year of independence that we are celebrating, this should be a core theme that we continue to promote, and it has to, the word should be out there from all the events, festivals, to all the, even the markets, that they should be showcased as well. So definitely that's all I will leave with. There are some cues. We will be happy to work with you all, and also please work with indigenous business, because I believe they will be a key enabler, and they've got profound impact, acceptance, and they really would create an impact as well. So that's all I would want to share. AIBC, we're keen to work with you all and create that impact, and that business to business impact as well. So with that outreach, I wish you all well, and to stay safe, and look forward to working with you all. Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaste, Irfanji. That was absolutely fantastic. And thank you very much for your offer. And actually, to say so, when you mentioned indigenous, that's already our organization working towards, because we are creating an affiliation with the indigenous research committee, and I'm already having a dialogue with a few of the professors and the doctors associated in the research in the indigenous herbs, and that actually is fantastic and true. Because it's a bigger community, and it would reach out in a bigger way. You are absolutely right in regards to that. And that's what we did organize this industry meet for, because everyone has a different perspective and should have a say. And you never know what you can get from anybody. We definitely are very open for all kind of affiliations and future collaborations, like to be able to work towards whether it's the research sector or like it's towards the market expansion or like looking at the business market and everything. So I do have understanding regarding that, like because I'm I did my entrepreneurship and innovation. So definitely innovate is a way to go. But we really appreciate your presence and your wise thoughts, and look forward for a future collaboration and partnership. And I would like to invite now, I think Professor Rajesh, is he there, Manish? Manish? I think like he's not there, right?
Yeah, he's not there, ma'am. I think he's left.
Because I can't see him, probably because he was on traveling as well. So maybe like there are some issues with the connectivity because he's in India actually right now. So what I would do is like I'll just give his brief intro, but we would miss him, I think, and I would invite like Dr. I think like Karthik, just for a brief intro, like for Dr. Rajesh, Professor Rajesh Sharma. He's actually currently teaching at RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia. And before coming to Australia, he was assistant professor at School of Law, City University of Hong Kong, as well as a senior lecturer, legal and dispute studies, criminology and justice at RMIT University, and an adjunct professor at Academy of International Dispute Resolution and Professional Negotiation, honorary professor in Xiantang University of the Law School. And he was actually, he is the first Indian to hold PhD in law from China. And he belongs to a family of freedom fighters. His dad was. He's coming from a very influential background, and also like his family was involved with Ayurveda business, like running the school in India, like in UP, as well as like having a manufacturing into Ayurveda. So that was my intention, because he's aware of all the legal aspect in getting any kind of like licensing or anything like in Australia. He's very familiar with that. We look forward to have him in the next one. But for now, I would invite Dr. Karthik Raghavamurthy, and I would request him to give his introduction himself, because I don't have his CV. And all I know is he's from Banola Labs. Is that right, Dr. Karthik? Right. So yeah, like I would request him to give his introduction himself and proceed for the next one. Thank you.
Hello from warm Chennai. I live in Chennai, and I'm from Banola Labs. We're a very old company in India. We are the first company in South India to manufacture homeopathic medicine. We are about 80 years old, and I'm the third generation in the business. I'm a pharmacist by education. And I'd like to thank ASSOCHAM and you, Vanita, and all the other speakers before.
Thank you.
For this wonderful platform to form a partnership for the increased awareness of Ayush. And the H in Ayush is homeopathy. I think all this while we haven't spoken about homeopathy before. But anyway, I'd like to say a big thanks to Irfan, because in his last bit where he mentioned that do a pilot study on how you get registration into. Now, as a pharmacist who manages the business, we understand PGA is the hardest body to get recognized by. Now, As a manufacturer, when you look at introducing any medication into Australia, the Indian standard of Schedule M, which is for the Ayush, or Schedule M1 for homeopathy, or the WHO GMP is not going to cut it. So you've got to understand that first you need to be a CGMP manufacturer, following all the guidelines. Now, for this partnership, I'm going to be very short and sweet in this because you've almost spoken everything that needs to be done. But as a manufacturer, when we would like to come and join a partnership, I would like to say a few words on what we look for in a partnership. And one is, I think, which Sonia mentioned, that you have a diaspora which can help manufacturers to establish themselves in a new market, like the Australasian Pacific area, Oceania. My thought would be that when we form, or this partnership handles this whole thing on two levels. One is, how do you get yourself registered? So you have a database, you have a knowledge bank, which can help any company, any Ayush company, to get itself registered and it's put into Australia or New Zealand or the Oceania country. The other is to like what Mr. Barbara is doing, and I think what you also mentioned. I think Vanita mentioned about the Friends of India, the Parliamentary Friends of India. So we need to go on a different level where we can help them change a certain policy decision, which will facilitate Ayush to get into Australia. That's point number 2. We also must understand and do our research, find out how the Chinese medicine has got themselves registered, because that they have got themselves registered in most of the international markets, whereas Ayush is facing a roadblock in almost every country that we go to. So we, as a partnership or as an association, which is going to help Ayush companies get in, we must have a dialogue with the Chinese Manufacturing Association, find out how they got themselves registered or accepted by the TTA, which will help the Ayush manufacturer. The other point is that we need to stress the fact that Ayush has been there even before the formal health system actually took shape. So we need to share more knowledge about Ayush, of course, in a more scientific way. And I appreciate what Danny is doing. Nikam is doing a fantastic job. I've never heard of it before, and I'm really thankful to hear about them. And I'd like to learn more about what they're doing in this segment. So these are the few points I thought that as a manufacturer, we would like to know where we stand, how do we get in, what are the policies that are going to affect us in our entry. So I think with this, I'll stop. It's already behind time, and but I just mentioned a few of the salient points that I wanted to cover. So once again, I'd like to thank ASSOCHAM, Sonia, Dr. Bamra, Danny, Irfan Malik for his insight, and you, Dr. Vanita, for this wonderful meet. And we hope we can make this a very vibrant partnership which will help Ayush flourish in Australia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karthik. That was wonderful. You actually highlighted main points from everyone, so which is fantastic, and we look forward for the future partnership. And definitely, you can know more about NICM, and it's one of the top universities that's involved with the research, and Chinese medicine actually was recognized in the first stage just with Western Sydney University itself. They were the one who got this process happening. So they have a idea how to get this thing happen and rolling. So we definitely look forward for this future collaboration and getting to to a level so that we can really focus on the facts that really are needed to expand this market, especially relative to the business, not just considering one modality Ayurveda, but it's a whole lot. It's, as Professor Dilip mentioned, there is nutraceuticals, bioceuticals. There is Dr. Gayatri said about Siddha medicine, homeopathy, and that's what our organization is not only focusing on Ayurveda. Although I am an industry specialist and represent that in Skills IQ, Ayurveda, but I even represent other modalities like reflexology, kinesiology, aromatherapy. There is Unani, whatever, are all the Ayush sciences. So that was the intention behind creating such a body, so that we can give it a drive, because that was what was lacking in the whole industry, because people were talking and putting in ideas and this, that. So I just thought it needs a drive, having a passion for something is different than a kind of executing something as a business plan is the right. So that's our motive and intention to create all this. Our team is very effective team, Dr. Puneet Mittal, he's from MGCTS, he's our research collaborator, and is part of our team who looks after the research at the Australian standards, back in India. And then there is other people Amarjit ji, who you heard. He's our international collaborator advisor. And then Sudeep Chaji, who has got a diverse experience and a broad perspective, affiliating and collaborating internationally. So he is a part of our team in our organization as advisor for any kind of Ayush or ministry liaise and even international collaboration. So we are already in a process, APCAS, as in to establish a global forum, which is nobody had been doing so far, and we are already in a process of various processes like that, and we would need people like yourself to be collaborating and coming up as a industry connections. As even Irfan Malikji mentioned, we need that pilot kind of a group of pilot practitioners and all that, or industry specialists or manufacturers, who can actually contribute in a lot of different ways, and it can go far. That's all I can say. And we are really grateful to Parminderji, especially to get us organize this kind of industry meet. It was much needed, and I'm really honored and pleased with having all you dignitaries with so wide experience and expertise in your own industries, and we would definitely take a positive out of it, and we look forward for APCAS to be going huge and bigger and expanding, like along with all you people as our arms. Like, so we just want to kind of like create that in Australia, beginning from here and then widespread, like through the globe. So thank you so much, and
I'll be honored to work with you.
yeah, thank you, Dr. Kadir.
Dr.
And
Vanita, we would like to collaborate with you and stay
yes,
connected
yes,
with you and make sure that we have the maximum representation in Australia. Thanks very much for the
absolutely,
opportunity.
absolutely. I'll be honored, like, and we will be honored as a team from APCAS. Now I'm going to introduce our another team member, like from APCAS. Like he is actually based in Sydney, but he's have like a wide experience, like a relative to Ayurveda, like because he practices Ayurveda as well in Sydney. Sorry, I'll just like open his profile. Just a second, give me a second. So yeah, like it's such an honor, like to have all the industry experts and their broad like experience that they have shared with us, like Dr. Gayatri, and we really look forward for having like a future collaborations so that we can benefit the whole community, not only Indian diaspora, but also people there are from Sri Lanka who believe in Ayurveda. There are Sri Lankans, there are Europeans, there are Indians, Australians, like who have a knowledge, like because of yoga, like there. And yoga is a sister science, like through which we actually kind of like made an input. Now I would invite Dr. Neeraj Thakur. He is, as I mentioned, a consultant of Ayurveda and Nadi Pariksha expert, like and he's practicing in Sydney with his practice like Ayurveda Holistic Healers Clinic with outstanding health improvement services in Cumberland, New South Wales. And he's a business award finalist like in year 2018, 19, 20, and 21. And he regularly gets interviewed on SBS Radio for Ayurveda health discussions. And he is a co-chair, a deputy chair for Australasian Pacific Council of Ayush Sciences, our APCAS organization. And he's a founder member of Australasian Ayurvedic Medicine Industry Council Australia, and director and a treasurer in Global Hindu Association for Reform and Sustainable Societies. And he's a former New South Wales state representative for Australasian Association of Ayurveda, which is like such a blessing for us to have his experience and expertise in APCAS, just along with our other experts, like in Australasian Pacific Council of Ayush Sciences. And our website is www.ausayushcouncil.org. If anyone wants to visit our website, there is a membership portfolio under which you can register your name and all that. Like it's no cost at the moment. We are looking at broad, like-minded community to be joining hands with us internationally. So wherever you are, you can still be affiliated with APCAS. So please go ahead, and I will repeat again, it's AUS Oz from Australia, Oz Ayush Council.org. That's our website. And feel free to register yourself, like, and rest I'll hand over to Dr. Neeraj Thakur. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vanita. As we know this platform today with the association with ASSOCHAM, and we are very pleased to invite from APCAS on their behalf as well. So I've seen so many dignitaries talking about they are in the medical this Ayurveda field, and and they want a mutual some sort of businesses or some sort of promotions of Ayurvedic medicines in Australia, and they are very skeptical about the rules and regulations, although they have some of the people having their businesses in other Western countries or European countries. But to be very frank, like first of all, I'll let you know, like this Ayurveda medicine is well recognized in Australia, and it comes under complementary medicine of system. So which means we are here as like a BMS practitioners or postgraduate practitioners from overseas, because we all are from overseas. Nothing of our BMS education is being here started yet in Australia. So we are the registered practitioners and are well qualified Ayurveda practitioners. We comes under the protocols of TGA. We comes under the protocols of NSW or the state-wise health regulations. So that means the government agencies or the government authorities are looking after us. And if the government agencies or authorities looking after our practice or the module of practice, it means we are well recognized in the system. So there are the two systems in Australia right now. At the moment, the first system is the register one. So what does this register license mean? So that
Dr. Neeraj, we can't hear you. Dr. Neeraj, we can't hear you.
Neeraj sir, you are not audible.
the APRA system of medicine, the system of authority, which means like if we once get recognized, then we are as a free flow practitioners, which is covered by the government rebates, and which is on a further protocols like which can be processed in the coming years. And few of the people have said like they are like as a lifestyle consultants. We are not like the life consultants. Life like this what do you call it? These consultants are lifestyle consultants are those people who are having certificate three or diploma. They are not equivalent to BMS degrees. So whosoever having a diploma or certificate courses, they are as like a lifestyle consultant, not as a Ayurveda physician, full-fledged Ayurveda practitioners. And people over here are very much, they say like now they have their own products which are GMP approved or the standards are maintained and everything is maintained. See, there are the very few protocols, and TGA is one of the things which is very much which deals with any of a medicine, any of the medicine. It's not about the Ayurveda medicine. Any of the medicine which can be applied, any of the herb, any of the compound which can be applied locally or ingested orally or by injection. That is mandatory, is looked after by TGA. Either it's paracetamol, just a 5 paisa medicine, or it's like a gold medicine, anything. It is under the stringent strategy or protocols of uh, TGA. Even few of the pharmaceutical companies, they are from the not from the Ayush department. They are not from the Ayush medicines. They are from the modern pharmaceutical companies. They are not able to get their products over here. They are what they are producing. They are just producing Panadol, paracetamol, acetaminophen, or some of the few like diclofenac sodium. But they are not able to. Although they are millionaire companies, crores of rupees are companies over there. They can't come into Australia. So it's not about anything which is about Ayurveda or which is about pharmaceutical. If the laws are for Ayurveda, then it is law for the other modern system of medicine as well. Like that will be one example of the COVID test kitting. Whatever we test available here, COVID test, rapid test, they are first recognized or authorized by TGA. Then they are able to come in the market. So many companies over there in India from overseas are there in a queue. None of them they are approved. Only one or two companies are approved by TGA because of their stringent policies. Only thing is this: we should not be get scared of the TGA. TGA, what the TGA is? TGA is a very nominal thing. It's just like you're doing medicine. If you're doing some study, You can't skip your course. You have to go with the syllabus. If you follow the protocols, you follow the syllabus, you go slow by slow, you step by step, you will achieve the things. Many people have done this thing. It's not a hard thing. Indian medicinal system, Indian pharmaceutical system is totally different from what they are in Australia. If any Indian pharmacy want to produce some medicine or herbal medicine, which they want to bring it in Australia, it's very simple. It's not hard fact. You can do it. Only you just go with the protocols of TGA. You hire the TGA. The TGA member from here, they come to your country, to your side, they approve it. It's not you giving the cup of tea or something under the table, just approve it. No. You have to follow the strict stringent rules what they have made for. Secondly, that comes about the herbs, the medicines. If your herbs are not, I mean, like they are not in a human consumption. If I've seen so many companies, the big companies even, their medicines, Himalaya drug, they have tried for Australia. They haven't got approved. Why? They don't want to go for it. If you can go with the clinical test and the laboratories, which the NICM is doing, as the Professor Dennis said, I've been to his universities over there. I've seen so many things. And I know many of the companies in India, I've been in contact with them. They are having the same protocols, the same machines, the same, the equipments which are there in Australia, which prefers India. They have there in there, and they are in a pipeline to get permission manufacturing over there and to bring in the medicines or the products over here. It's very simple. It's nothing hard. Only money. If you want to grow up your business, you need the money. So it's vice versa. Like when you invest money, you'll get the money out of it. So anyhow, so there is no anything hard. You won't get the products from overseas, Ayush medicine. Rest is thing is about the Ayush, the government of ministry. I don't know what the people are doing. We've been in chat with them, and we see there many things they are doing in their own country, in the India. It's not like about selling kada, taking this licorice and taking this ajwain pani, giving you, like bloating relief. You should have the proper. That is what we have we have sent them the emails like say you should give the enormous research data is not like what I'm saying is true. You need to provide some research, clinical trials, research data. If you claim that you are the government, you have so many equipments over there, then why don't you supply? You don't you apply the things over here in Australia? They don't want to. So this is another factor. If another personally, some business people they want to do, they can achieve. It's very simple. It's not very hard. It's just a time consuming. It's a step by step. So anyhow, so as per the WHO, many countries now recognize the need to develop a cohesive and integrated approach to healthcare that allows government, healthcare practitioners, and most importantly, those who use healthcare services to assess traditional and complementary medicine in a safe, respectful, cost efficient, and effective manner. So this is what the WHO say. So it means the complementary medicine and the herbal medicine, they are quite recognized as per the WHO. On its few of the protocols, if we don't follow up, there come negative reviews. So which is to be take care of it. So as like an APCAS, like we have some key recommendations to support, the investment in natural medicine, science, and innovation in the industry. So support the growth of high quality Indian exports. So trade with international markets is crucial for the long-term prosperity of the Australian complementary medicine industry and Australian products, as well, like they are recognized as a premium brand in complementary medicine sector because of their strict quality and safety manufacturing standards and Australia's global reputation for clean, and safe products and its trusted regulatory institutions. That's why it is a trustworthy medicine. India market presents one such opportunity. Consumers look to natural health supplements as an element of their healthcare choices, as India has a long history of such uses through Ayurveda medicine. The Indian natural product market was estimated at approximately $4 billion in 2017 and is expected to grow at 21% to $10 billion by 2022, which is a very huge market. So there is a global rise in demand for Ayurvedic herbal natural medicines and natural nutritional supplements resulting from rise in lifestyle diseases and a subsequent focus on health and nutrition. India presents a significant opportunity in the future for the Australian complementary medicine sector. APCAS proposes that the Australian government, we are proposing like a government progress, the Australia India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, including tariff reduction and clarification around the application of GST on health products in order to support Australian businesses in our sector to benefit from the future market opportunities offered by India. So India also presents an opportunity for exporting Australian ingredients as for high end product, as there is a demand for high quality and unique ingredients such as tea tree oil, manuka honey, whey protein concentrates, and few herbs and extra. So these are the higher in demand. If India is a supplier, it can be in a billions, it can be further growth in economy. So second key recommendation from ourselves is focus on preventive health to build a more sustainable health system for Australia and for India as well. And third one is support investment in complementary medicine research and translation of evidence into clinical practice, which is very much mandatory. Without research and translation of any evidence into clinical practice, doesn't make you stand on that level. And so we need the more of the clinical practice researches. So second is like review the legislative framework of therapeutic goods to simplify its structure and language to achieve a more user-friendly approach for and minimize business burden resulting from staggered implementation of regulatory reform, which means like the TGA. TGA, if you go with, it's not the normal common man can understand. It's a law. It's some points which are as per the law. So you need the TGA approved person or some lawyer who can give you an advice about how to start your manufacturing as per Australian standards and how to get improved, how to pass your ingredients, the herbs, like there will be the ashwagandha is being very much popularly used over here, ashwagandha, bacopa, manori, and licorice. So that can be borrowed from India, but none of the Indian market is sending these products to Australia because of their failures. They don't clear the first two steps, they drop the idea. So if they can try, if the government Ayush department try, or they can try, they definitely, there are many herbs, and it's not 30 or 60 herbs, it's more than 270, 80 herbs, which is already there in TGA list. I don't know why people are taking this in a very skeptical way. When TGA have given you 260 herbs, which are Ayurvedic herbs, there are more than 400 herbs, 450 herbs, including Chinese herbs. Chinese herbs are similar. Some of the herbs they are being used in Ayurveda as well. Like, but they have I have the list of TGA list, TGA medicine, TGA herbs, which are from the TGA list. Why we don't go for 260 herbs which are already there in TGA list? Go and manufacture that products which are already there in list. Only you have to need the product and their clearance. You don't have to make the list new to them. They don't supposed to make new list. Whatever they have gained from that. Our people are saying we have so many herbs. There is nothing. Who says there are 260 100 drugs, 260 drugs, herbs available? Make the formulations from there, use them. Don't need to make yourself any new product to add on. So anyhow, so we proposing targeting funding for agri futures to work with the Australian complementary medicine industry. Agri future is the main future coming up in Australia. If we promote this agri future, it's a good growth economically for Australia as for the India as well. So that is one thing. Supporting additional research and commercialization to fully capture the opportunity of locally grown ingredients. The Asia Pacific region is the largest market for complementary medicine products in the world. Given the aging population and growth of the middle class, demand for high quality complementary medicine is expected to remain very strong. By 2030, it is expected the Asia Pacific region will have 3.2 billion middle class consumers. 3.2 billion middle class consumers. Large demands is expected in the areas of health and aged care, natural preventive care, and high quality food products. Australia is on the verge to overtake the USA as the #1 opportunity complementary medicines into China. At the moment, the China is on the lead. India still is behind, very much behind the Chinese, the herbs system, traditional medicine system. And somebody have asked, like, if the Chinese have done this thing, why not the Indian traditional medicine system should not do that? I've been in touch with the Chinese traditional medicine practitioners and their board as well. Like, they have done this thing in 20 years, and their government is supporting them 120%, and our government is supporting only 10%, maybe 20%, not more than that. And there is many things which they don't want to get it done. Many things I've seen in, if many things were happening over there, but none on an international level. They are happy with their all curriculum things. That's it. So the India market presence has one such opportunity. Indian consumers look to natural health supplements as an element, of their healthcare choices. As India has a long history of such uses to Ayurveda medicine, India presents a significant opportunity in the future for the Australian complementary medicine sector. Once again, I'm saying India have a bright future to promote this Ayurveda medicine as a complementary medicine sector in Australia. It is a big value if India government or Indian the entrepreneurs want to interfere in this business. So we propose that the Australian government progresses the Australia-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, including tariff reduction and clarification around the application of GST on health products in order to support Australian business in our sector to benefit from the future market opportunities offered by India. So this is what I have a little to say about this. I'm very much happy to hear so many people, they are interested to to further, to make a bridge between India and Australia with the complementary medicine, especially with the Ayurveda. And of course, the homeopathy can be go for, but Unani medicine is not yet recognized here, but Ayurveda, yoga, and homeopathy is quite well recognized in Australia. So once again, I am very much thankful to all the dignitaries today, especially the chairman, Dr. Sadiq Narayan, Honorable Member MP Dan Tehan, Yasmin King, Sonia, Sadiq Gandhi, Amarjit Bambre, Professor Dennis, Gayatri Rajagopal, and Professor Dilip Ghosh, Rajesh Sharma and Irfan Malik, and Karthik Raghava, and Mr. Sudeep Kumar Jha, who's there after me. So yes, that is what I'm to say now. As I think I took a lots of time now. Thank you very much for listening me.
Thank you, Dr. Neeraj. That's
And one thing I
definitely.
will say, if any of the person want to have a such type of business, they can contact through APCAS. They can register with us. We let them know all the formalities, how to proceed. And trust me, it's not a big deal. It's just the tactics, just the steps. It's just the law. That's it. It's not hard to get in.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Dr. Neeraj, because it's like being representing the industry in skills IQ. We are looking at private health funds. We are looking at standardizing and creating the standards in the levels of education. And that's absolutely right. We are lifestyle consultants, to say, because we do give a lifestyle advice, and the courses that are offered here are, as Dr. Neeraj said, they are certificate 4 and diploma in lifestyle, Ayurvedic lifestyle consultancy. Diet and consultancy. Yeah, so that's why they are called lifestyle consultants, because they are not qualified in a degree like as in bachelor's of Ayurvedic medicine and surgery, what we usually do, or masters, after doing that, MD, or specialized like in any area of Ayurvedic medicine back in India. So Ayurveda is Ayurveda in the complementary health industry. It's called Ayurveda, but we are considered equivalent in Australian healthcare system, equivalent to naturopaths. But we are not designated as lifestyle consultants. We are Ayurvedic practitioners and Ayurveda doctor. So we are not like we are not called like as a medical practitioners, because that's Western medicine, like according to Australian law. And Professor Rajesh Sharma would have been absolutely clear on these kind of like perspectives, because he's from the legal department. But yeah, that's why, as Dr. Neeraj mentioned, please feel free to contact us, take our membership, like, and we with the support of ASSOCHAM, like with Sudeep Jhaji and Parminder ji. She has a lot of input, like, and all the IT work that was handled by Manish Sharma. Like, thank you so much for all this, like, background and everything. And it was a fantastic event. Before I go, I would just introduce, like, Sudeep Kumar Jhaji. First of all, I would say he is our advisor for the International Ayush Collaboration, as well as he's a chair for Asian African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. That's his main kind of like a recent designations. But he has advised number of government and non-government authorities, being an astute and result-oriented professional with 30 years of extensive experience in strategy planning, legend, coordination, new setups, marketing, project management, contract management, general admin, and CRM with profit accountability. So he's even received 2 Swadeshi National Award named as Ayush Kamal Ratan and Ayush Kamal Bhushan for excellence in international business development in the field and promotion of development in Indian traditional medicine, which is Ayush. Also participated as a trade delegate member for several bilateral agreements, initiations on behalf of the Ministry of Ayush to different countries worldwide. Like, so he's done extensive traveling and organized like a lot of even like working as an advisor for the this ASSOCHAM, like as Indian Chamber of Commerce, Kolkata, ASSOCHAM New Delhi, Federation of Indo-American Americans of Northern California, USA, and member-based advisory, Asian African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as for APCAS. He is advisor and mentor for Indian Institute of Technology. So he's got a wide experience. Like he was earlier associated even with Rex Remedies, like one of the renowned Ayurvedic and Unani medicine, as executive director for, again, international BDM, like posted at New Delhi since April 2009. So saying like just few words, like regarding him, like anything required in India through Sudeep ji, if anyone wants to contact us, like or have any kind of like affiliations, so you can contact ASSOCHAM and you can contact Sudeep Kumar Jhaji. I would just hand over to you quickly because we are just like running out of time. I think like yeah, we would be concluding the meeting. And namaste to everyone, and thank you to all the dignitaries, ASSOCHAM, DFAT, Indian High Commission, and because they sent the apologies, like consulate, Indian consulate, they sent the apologies like for not able to make it like in today's event, but their support is always there with us. Like, so thank you very much. And taking your leave, like I would just hand over to Sudeep Kumarji, so that he can offer a note of thanks from ASSOCHAM. Sudeep ji, welcome.
Namaskar. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
From the morning, I have heard, a very excellent speech from all of the dignitaries. But anyhow, with the due honor to the chairman of ASSOCHAM National Ayush Committee, Sri Sudipto Narayan Roy, and Honorable Dan Pehan, the Minister of Trade and Tourism, Government of Australia, Exclusively the thanks, extending to thanks Dr. Banita Sharma, Mrs. Purvinder Kaur, and all the dignitaries who are now online for doing in favor for last couple of hours, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning in India and evening at Australia. About me, I think that I should not tell anything else more, but I just want to extend the vote of thanks because already Dr. Banita explained about my things. Only thing I can just explain that probably I am the only man in India individually who cater his services for the promotion and development of Ayush system of medicine and pathy for last 25 years. Even when Ayush Ministry was not in picture. In 2014, when the Ayush Ministry initiated by our Honorable Prime Minister of Sri Narendra Modi, I was the man also, one of the men who was also the consultative member of Ministry of Ayush, specifically for the international attached with the International Cooperation Department, and visited many countries, maybe around 40 countries specifically for promotion and development and represent the Indian industry. Either it was organized by ASSOCHAM or FICCI or ICC or different international chambers also. So anyhow, I should not make it linger more. So I just want to, it's really gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event to all the dignitaries assembled here. I would like to thank our chief guest who honored this function with his inspirational thoughts. I would like to convey our beloved participants and last but not least our beloved audience for making this event as a grand success. Once again, I extend my thanks one and all present here. Thanking you very much, and on behalf of ASSOCHAM, I am also the advisor of ASSOCHAM as well as APCAS. So I am making a thanks, extending a thanks on behalf of ASSOCHAM, specifically who organized this event, and we believe that in future these kinds of events may have to be organized in future. Thanking you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. We shall be closing for now.
Thank you, Manish, and thank you to all the audience and all the speakers for giving us time. Like namaste, and we look forward taking a progress and stepping forward from here. But please stay connected, stay in touch.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.